pulling out all the stops and pushing each other to new musical heights. One band member describes the chemistry of Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble as dynamite that frequently explodes. Part of that could come from the music the group plays. It's a blues-based sound with a bit of rock laced in.
The blues are actually, in some ways, a healing kind of music. Because they draw out the bad feelings and make you have a good time.
Lots of bands play the blues, but few are successful as Vaughan. Stevie Ray says perhaps it's just his time. His time right now means more than 2 million albums sold and 3 Grammy nominations. After working his way up playing clubs for 17 years, success is rewarding, but Vaughan doesn't let it get to him. He's still unassuming and laid back. He still feels most at ease when he's on stage communicating with his audience.
Pick out somebody or a group of people or something and play mainly to them, and it's like you get this intimacy going on. And of course we're playing to everybody, but you can get a more immediate response like that.
Tomorrow night we'll talk with Vaughan about his future plans and some of the things he still wants to achieve. In Beaumont, Glenn Ely, 12 Eyewitness News.
One NBA scored 449.
Okay, thanks a lot. Stay with us. Concert goers at the Montaigne Center this weekend were treated to a taste of the blues. Guitarist Stevie Ray Vaughan and his band Double Trouble delivered a powerhouse set of their explosive songs. Tonight, reporter Glenn Ely profiles the Austin Axeman in the second of 2 stories and talks to Vaughan about some of his future goals.
It's been 3 years since Stevie Ray Vaughan and his band Double Trouble exploded like a firecracker onto the music scene. The band's success took many people by surprise, including most record executives who said a group playing the blues couldn't be commercially successful.
When we were talking to the record company, they asked us, they came out and told us that nobody wanted to hear this stuff. And we said, put it out and see what happens. So it was kind of a dare. You know, it worked.
So what's left to accomplish now that the band's achieved a worldwide following and critical acclaim? Vaughan says he's not going to think about the stardom. Instead, he's going to focus on helping other fellow musicians break into the music industry.
Being able to have a studio would be good. Be able to help some of the musicians that I've heard and we'll hear in the future. There's many musicians out there that I believe have got more to give than anybody I've seen myself, you know, anything I've seen myself do. They should be heard just because they're not as commercial as what someone at a large record label would say. This is it. I would like to see them have the chance.
In Beaumont, Glenn Ely, 12 Eyewitness News.
New Year's Eve. Started the first time I played there was I played bass for my brother in '68, mid '68. I guess it was winter '68.
Okay, now after all that time, 17 years or whatever, how does it feel now that you don't have to do that anymore? How's the success now after working hard all those years?
Well, the success is fine. Playing in bigger places is fine. I miss playing those clubs too. We get to go to Antone's every once in a while. We have a blast.
Yeah, I kind of miss the Rum Inn, huh?
Yeah.
I miss that place a lot.
The Rum Inn meant a lot to me. I played there for years and years. Got engaged there. Got married there in the band room.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just there 2 weeks ago seeing Luther Tucker. Okay. Why do you think your type of music is so successful as opposed to guys like Omar Van Dykes and Johnny Winter who are forced to go on smaller record labels? Why is it that you've been able to break through, do you think?
Well, maybe it's just our turn. Something new too. There's something else to it. You know, we play a little bit wilder, I guess, in a way, which is more commercial to the record company, I guess. Part of it had to do with when we were talking to the record company. They asked us. I mean, they came out and told us that nobody wanted to hear this stuff, and we said, put it out and see what happens. So it was kind of a dare. You know? It worked.
Yeah, it sure did. Okay.
We weren't joking.
Talking about getting wild on stage, you really pull out all the stops.
It's his instrument.
Bach, yeah, there you go. All stops on his organ, okay. But you really let it out. What is it about concerts that it seems like you guys really open up much more than, to say, the albums in the studio?
Well, there's people. There's people to play to. They come to see us. They give us a good time. We try to give it back.
What's that chemistry like on stage between all of you? How do you?
It's fun.
Yeah,
Kind of like dynamite.
Yeah, we just know what we're going to be doing. You know, just by looking at each other, by playing a little bit, we know kind of what the other person is going to do, and it's a great rapport. You know, the main problem is hearing each other. If we can hear each other, we can.
Yeah, if we can hear each other, we're fine.
Yeah.
What sort of feedback you get from the audience when you see the guy in the front row there, and he's
Actually, there's usually I find it just happens. I'll end up finding one person that's really paying attention. You know, in one way or the other. They're a comic, or they're serious, or whatever. If there's somebody that doesn't smile or doesn't move or something, you know, it just could be any reason. But I'll pick one person out and play with them for a long time. You know, it's easier to get intimate that way. You know, because you can't see the people in the back. You know, that's the main difference in playing in a bigger place than in a club. Because in a club, the people are, you know, of course, a lot closer. So you pick out somebody or a group of people or something and play mainly to them, and it's like you get this intimacy going on. And of course, we're playing to everybody, but you can get a more immediate response like that.
Do you run a risk of losing some of your music by playing the big cow barns as opposed to a place like Antone's?
I don't understand.
Do you run the risk of losing some of your special intimate feel? That's what I'm saying. When the bigger you get, do you think you can still keep it together?
Yeah, it's just the music. The music is more personal than just at the gigs. That's where you perform it a lot of times. But
I think no matter what kind of place we play, we pretty much play it. We feel the same. You know, the sound's a little different in bigger places. The sound kind of rolls around stuff, but we pretty much play the same. I love to do big clubs and big halls and little clubs. You know.
Yeah.
It's all fun.
You know, sitting in your living room at home.
The climate's different in a big place, you know. Everything's just real expanded, so he's kind of tried to do that too. But what he was saying about connecting with someone or a group of people, it kind of keeps that connection there. You know, I mean, real strong, because then everything kind of goes off all that.
You know, it turns into something. It's like meeting somebody and telling each other bad jokes. Except it's for a good reason.
Okay. What is it about the blues you think you really identify with? Why the blues? Why are you playing the blues? Why has it been so important to you all your life?
Well, it's a real thing, and I do understand why we have to ask this question.
Yeah.
or it would be redundant. It's the emotion that everybody has, whether they like it or not. And this music is to make that feel better. The blues are not something to make you go boo-hoo with, unless it's a happy boo-hoo, because it gets out, whether it releases it by the lyrics. You know, they could be worse than somebody's situation, or they can identify with it, or it's a happy lyrics and it makes them feel better, or it's just the emotion of the music itself without the lyrics. But it's to make people feel better. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not a thing to make somebody feel sorry for themselves. It's to make them have a good time. Mm-hmm. And that even if they're sick, that's going to be good for them too.
So
the blues are actually in some ways a healing kind of music, you know, because they draw out the bad feelings and make you have a good time.
Now, who were some of the guys you identified with? You had Hendrix, Johnny Winter, Albert King,
Albert Collins, Hubert Sutherland. My brother's my biggest influence, more than likely. Jimmy Vaughan of the Fabulous Thunderbirds.
Okay. Now that you have a certain degree of success, I mean, you sold about 2 million albums so far. What do you want now? Do you have everything you want, or what are some of the goals you still have for, you know, what are you thinking about in the future?
Oh.
You got film scores coming up. Yeah.
Well, actually, sometime in the future, I wouldn't mind having some time. That wouldn't hurt. Being able to have a studio would be good. Be able to help some of the musicians that I've heard and will hear in the future. There's many musicians out there that I believe have got more to give than anybody I've seen myself. You know, anything I've seen myself do. They should be heard just because they're not as commercial as what someone at a large record label would say. This is it. I would like to see them have the chance. A lot of times people don't get in the studio because they can't afford the studio time. I'd like to have a studio that, if they can't afford it, they pay for the tape, and maybe you know, it's a little something for the guy that runs the machines. Eventually, I wouldn't mind having my own label, so that if somebody turned them down, click, here's go. You know, everybody deserves that chance. There's many musicians that the only reason they're not known is because they've never have had the chance to be heard, other than in a small club or in one town or. You know.
What is it? Why Austin? Why is the music scene so great there? I mean, you got a place like Antone's. The guy who runs it, I mean, he's got it up here. But why is Beaumont so anemic? You know, why is so much of the rest of the area, Texas and other states, they just don't have it? Why? What is it about Austin, you think?
Well, there's a lot of musicians there that has moved there over the years. When I first moved there, it was a little different feeling. It's growing real fast now. It's more competitive now. But everybody still pulls for each other. You know, we don't get to see enough of it because we're on the road so much. It's still a place where people act like they're people and they treat each other that way. You know, it's not all fashion. It's not like Dallas or JR or anything. Yeah. Beaumont, see, a lot of the people from down here have moved to Austin.
Yeah,
if it's anemic, that's why.
I'm one of them. Okay. I know you're. You know, another thing I was noticing on Johnny's new album, the last two albums, he's using that laser guitar. That's great.